That sucks. Hopefully it clears up. Maybe I can
It's
should get off.
adjusting. The stream got to adjust. Give it a
Okay. Yeah.
second.
Great. All right.
So what's
Well,
up? How's your week, Hailey?
yeah, it was pretty good. I'm just sorry. I'm adjusting my volume because last week I had some trouble hearing you, and so I don't want that to happen again. So there we go. Yeah, so pretty good.
Yeah, it'll fix itself. Just give it a sec.
Yeah,
If you want.
I'm trying to set this up, but I had it inside of a cup trying to balance it, like looking at myself, but then I can't see the chat, and that's not good, so shoot.
I feel you. I'll try and pay attention today to that.
Yeah, so everybody, sorry about last time. It's just we can get kind of carried away. I can get kind of carried away. There we go. And
To be fair, the audience guides the chat quite a bit of the times.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But you should open up questions. So everybody, we are going to talk about something I've been wanting to talk about for a few weeks, which is like fitness myths and stuff you've probably heard a million times, stuff that I love to talk about and nerd out on. So if you have any questions as we're going, just please leave them in the question section. Don't leave a comment because the comments just go up and then we can't see them and we'll never get to them. So yeah, just letting you know now. So it doesn't still seem laggy. It seems like you're nodding while I'm talking. So
yeah, you're blurry, but it's catching up.
I'm blurry?
Just a little bit, but it's all right. It'll fix up.
Okay, yeah, hopefully so. Anyway, so yeah, I guess I'm going to start us out here. So I wanted to start with some simple things, some stuff that I'm sure, hopefully, people know by now are absolute BS. But still, every now and again, I run across someone, they're like, Hailey, have you tried those, tummy wraps or that fit tea? Like this chick's promoting this fit tea and like, look, she has such a tiny waist. And like, if I drink this tea too, like I'm going to get the time. It's just like, girl, like this stuff is such crap. And it seems obvious to me that this is a scam, but I mean, I get people are still selling this stuff. So I'm assuming there are people still buying this stuff. And I can't really believe it. But yeah, so I'm just here to start us off by beating that point home. Stuff like fit teas. In other words, I'm going to make a tea and drink it without doing anything else, and that's going to magically whittle away fat on me, right? That's absolute crap. So anybody selling that should be fucking ashamed of themselves. Sorry.
Hey, is it kind of like the pyramid scheme of Herbalife? Would you consider it?
Well, okay. Herbalife's interesting. Yeah, definitely pyramid scheme. Yeah, let's just say I would never promote Herbalife. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But that it's not just Herbalife. That's Advocare. That's, take your pick. Okay, if we get into talking about supplements, this is really interesting because there's only a few supplements I think really have enough backing to them. Like, hey, this is effective. Research has shown like this is something you should invest in. And that's going to be something like a creatine monohydrate that you don't need it. You can achieve your goals without it, but I definitely think that that's one of the only supplements that somebody should invest in. Maybe a good protein. And maybe if you want to invest in a pre-workout, that's it. But like, for example, black coffee is one of the best pre-workouts, gram for gram of caffeine, and it's going to be cheaper. Yeah, see, there you go. Brew your own instead of paying like $3 a serving for a pre-workout. You brew your own coffee and there you go. But again, if you have the money to burn and you want to buy a pre-workout, totally like go for it. I don't care. But other than that, and so getting back to like supplement companies.
Question though. So
Sorry.
you're saying don't fall for the wraps, don't fall for the teas. Does that mean what you were saying like in the last episodes? If you want abs, you need to work on your whole body. Like, what is your trick? What do you recommend for people like you and your physique?
Yeah. So I have to separate my experience and my story from what is going to work for the vast majority. This whole like, oh, what's your trick thing? This is how you're going to get scammed. Because
that's why I said your physique. I know you don't like me asking what's the win all situation. I know, like there's not one off solution for everybody. I get it.
Well, yeah, if you want your abs to show. I mean, look, I'm not saying there aren't cases where someone's got a crazy high stress level. Someone's, maybe crazy genetically influenced to just not lose body fat. I mean, that could be a case, but for the vast majority, yes, there is a trick, and the trick is the law of thermodynamics. Take in less calories than you expend, and over a period of time, that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's as simple as that. But here's the thing, it's simple, but it's not easy. And that's the whole thing. It's not easy. So people don't want to hear that it's not easy. They don't want to have to work. And so that's why when somebody comes to them saying, hey, all you have to do is brew this tea, drink it, and then you're going to get these crazy shredded abs in 3 weeks. That's how you have people falling for these scams, and it's bullshit. So yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm going to be like a talking crazy.
No, it's cool. At the end of your list, I have a few that I want to ask about too. So go on with it.
Okay, well, all I wanted to talk about was regarding the supplement company thing. It's really interesting, and it's hard for me. Like, for example, when I see a supplement company promote something like BCAAs, which we now know that BCAAs are, if you have adequate protein in your diet, whole protein sources, you might as well pee the BCAAs away. I mean, it's going to turn into expensive urine. And so when I see a supplement company still selling this and promoting this, I'm like, okay, either one of two things is going on. They don't care or they don't know. And being in this line of work, both are just as bullshit, because you fucking should know, and you shouldn't just be selling stuff to make a buck. I mean, if I see somebody selling BCAAs, I'm like, you know, this person loses all credibility. It makes me not want to support them in any way, because I'm like, if they're willing to lie to me about this and just sell this to me to make money, or, you know, even better, they don't know, like they fucking should know. This is their job. It makes me not want to support them at all. Even if they had a great creatine monohydrate product, I still wouldn't buy it from them, because it puts such a bad taste in my mouth. Yes, sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. That's what I'll put my finger up when I have a question. Is there anything that helps the absorption process, or do you really just pee it all out no matter what?
Absorption of?
Because you're saying you're just going to pee it out, but there are other supplements.
Yeah, no.
You can combine other supplements to absorb things.
Yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. You're talking more about vitamins. BCAAs, sure. Specific aminos. We'd have to get into the particular studies, and I know everyone's saying, oh, a study, you can show anything. The thing with studies, you know, the important thing is that you want to be able to show something recurring over and over again. One means nothing. It's the body of evidence pointing to something so strongly to say, hey, you know what? We have so much evidence pointing to this thing that we can say with a high degree of probability that this is probably the case. And so, yeah, with BCAAs, you might as well just stick to the whole protein sources. Like, okay, if you're not getting an adequate protein, then it might help. But if you are, it's turning into expensive urine, and it's not worth the money. And I actually did an interesting video years ago. I deleted it. I probably should make it again, but it was comparing buying like a protein powder with, well, what if I just bought the amount of chicken breasts, and just like, instead of getting the protein in the powder, you know, get it in the chicken breast, and which would be cheaper. And I equated for like the differences in chicken prices across the US. Yeah, it might be different on a global scale, but it was really crazy to find that chicken, and maybe it's different now with the changing prices and stuff, but at that time, like 3-4 years ago, buying the chicken breast and getting the protein that way was like so much cheaper. It was crazy. I really wasn't expecting that at all. But again, I mean, you're paying for it in time, because who wants to, I mean, you want 20 grams, 40 grams of protein. What do you have to do? You have to spend all that time cooking the chicken, and you know, there's 10, 20, 30 minutes when with the powder, you just put it in drink, mix it up, it's down. So it's you're paying for it with your time. So I totally get that. But
are you one of those people who enjoys eating way too much to do that?
No, actually, I think it could be viable for me for not only, okay, this is getting into a lot of stuff. No, okay, I tried it once. I supplemented with protein to see if I would gain weight with the added protein and the added calories. For 3 months, I did it every day, ranging from 20 grams a day to 40 grams a day, kind of alternating like that. Absolutely nothing happened in a 3-month period.
Wow.
Except for I got some of the worst breakouts of my life, like big, I mean, painful sores. It was terrible. So yeah, but I would love to do that, because like especially like meal replacement, calorie dense stuff, I think would be great for me, for somebody who like has a hard time gaining weight, but my skin just doesn't like it.
It's interesting that you've self-experimented. That's worth putting in a book for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but N equals one. In other words, my own personal experience or your own personal experience is interesting and fun to read, but this is why you don't have some, scientists saying, "Hey, here's my studies with one subject." I mean, you need a lot of people to really come to a conclusion. So with one person's experience, you can't really extrapolate that the experience that one person has is the experience that all these people are going to have. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and plus, I imagine it'd be pretty complicated to get everybody on the same diet, doing the same workouts for like a consistently long time, right? Like that experiment, pretty time consuming, I'd imagine.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Okay. So there was something I was going to say regarding like supplement companies, but yeah. So when I see a supplement company promote one crap product, I don't want anything to do with the rest of their products, because it's like you're giving me one piece of crap. How do I know that, like, I just don't trust them anymore.
Uh,
So
Big Brother's comment, pretty sad, or pretty much part of the multi-level marketing routine. Hailey, pretty sad when profit over health is often commonplace. How are you both
yeah,
doing today?
absolutely. Well, it is commonplace. I mean, it's just, it's sad that that's the way things are, but money talks, and that's what people want to do. They want to make a buck, and it's going to be at the expense of your health, or wallet, or both.
Yeah, it sucks because I'm just thinking of all the other industries that do the same shit. It doesn't have to just be for supplements or working out.
It's across the board. Every industry is the same way. Money talks, and they're gonna bend you over and screw you all the way to the bank.
Shit.
Pretty much. So,
All right, what's next on your list?
okay, so I kind of want to start from the bottom up, actually.
Unless you want to take turns and dispel my myth I got over here.
Yeah, I'm
All
down.
right.
Let's do it.
Strength training will make you bulk up.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I have on the bottom of my list here, women will get bulky if they lift more than 20 pounds. So yeah, this is gonna depend, really. Women especially are gonna have a really hard time with this. Men probably will have an easier time, but I think they're probably more prone to look in the mirror and be a little more satisfied with their growth over a period of a year or two. But it depends. It really depends. I mean, you it depends on what someone considers bulky. Because someone like me, who's like borderline like body dysmorphia, I hate to even say it, but it's true. Um,
Alien, right?
yeah, you're mean. He's very mean. Okay. Yeah, so it depends on what someone considers bulky, because like for me, when I look in the mirror, I feel very skinny. No matter how much weight I put on, I feel like a string bean, and I don't feel like I don't have any curves. When I came to Europe, okay, this area, I can't speak for all of Europe, but here it's like they're still in the 90s mentality. Like they want to look like Twiggy. That's their goal. So
Baggy clothes too.
no, just the Twiggy bit. I mean, girls here just want to be a size zero, and the whole like bottom hasn't yet hit here. I think that's coming. And then when the US cycles out of the big butt, they're gonna get it here. It's like it's late here.
It's
So
interesting because the third world countries, they'll gladly take back like the fucking the brand clothes that we make here. You know what I mean? Like they'll make them over there in that country, send them here, and then be glad to get them right back. It's interesting. Anyways, go on.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean it really depends. I mean, especially I think maybe for a lot of guys, and social media plays a terrible part in this. I mean, especially bodybuilding with men. They're bombarded with all these pictures of like dudes jacked out of their mind, just probably all cycling up and whatnot. And so when you see that all day, and then you're natty and you look in the mirror after 2 years of progress, you're probably like, dang, yeah, I'm still a string bean. Where's all my mass that I'm supposed to be gaining? So yeah, this whole like lifting will make you bulky, yes, but when you have crazy expectations, you're gonna look like Jay Cutler or something like that, natty, and
Yeah.
probably even then, if you don't have those genetics, Yeah. So, I mean, yes, but depends on your definition of what is bulky. And so, yeah, getting back to the whole women getting bulky if they lift, this is really, really difficult. And
Mm.
this is something I think a lot of women should take up. Maybe not upper body, because I do think that there's like, for, okay, n equals one means nothing. I get that. But like for me, for example, my upper body just blew up when I trained it. Like when I first started training, I did upper body, ditched it, thought it was too masculine. Like my veins already, as it is, make me look more masculine than I like sometimes. So for some women, that might be a little bit much, but lower body, um, I think most women are probably going to have a hard time looking in the mirror and being like, ooh, I look too manly.
Yeah,
So,
I feel you.
so
You want
what's
me
your
to
next one?
Okay, here's another one. You can focus on losing fat from certain body parts, which is, I
No,
think, what we
total
talked.
bullshit. You cannot control where you lose fat. Okay, now the only caveat to that is if you are genetically inclined to gain or lose fat in one area, but even then you're really not going to know unless you gain the fat and you're like, oh, well, I just gained it all in my legs or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and no, there's nothing you can do like to spot reduce, unfortunately. Or I just like gain 50 pounds and then lose it all in my tummy by spot reducing, right? And then I'd have like crazy, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Continue. I'm gonna unlock my door real quick. Hold on, but continue.
Okay, well, I mean, no, that's pretty much it. I wish it worked like that. I'd do my best to gain a whole bunch of weight and like keep it all in my girls, like my teddies and my butt and my legs, and I'd lose it all in my tummy, and it would be a perfect world, wouldn't it?
Word.
But it doesn't work like that.
Do you want me to go on with my list, or you got some more?
Yeah, no, go on.
Doing lots of cardio is the best way to lose weight.
It can help, definitely so, but it always comes back to one thing, and that's the law of thermodynamics. That's you have to expend more than you take in. Now, some ways of expending calories are definitely cardio, and this is actually one point I have on my list is that lifting burns a lot of calories. It really doesn't. Cardio, in comparison to lifting, generally does. So if you have a goal of only like losing fat mass, manipulating what you put in your mouth is going to help probably the most. Expending energy via cardio can definitely help, but you have to understand if you're not manipulating what you put in your mouth, in other words, if you don't have any kind of a diet and you're trying to create this deficit every day, 500 calorie deficit, just on average, I'm not saying that's a special number, it's going to be different for everybody, but I mean, yeah, it's doable, but you have to keep this up every day, and it's a lot more, you can save a lot more time if you just do it like via what you put in your mouth. But yeah, that can definitely help expending calories by other means.
Just place it anywhere.
Cousin,
My friend Rage, he's a big fitness workout addict as well.
hi, he can join or ask questions if you want
Got
to.
any questions or what, bro? Any
It's
fitness?
totally cool, I don't care.
He's a Hawaiian, so I think he eats a little different.
Oh, that's really cool. I have a half brother who lives in Hawaii.
Oh shit. Yeah. What part?
I think in Oahu.
Where? Wait, which island are you from? Maui. Maui. All right.
That's
Cool,
cool,
cool.
small world.
Yeah, he was nice enough to bring me some food.
Ooh.
So not feeling sore means you didn't get a good workout.
Yeah, that is, I made a whole video on this, which I've recently taken down because YouTube's a fucking Gestapo.
No,
But
that's interesting. That's a question because I actually didn't feel sore the other day, and I was like, man, I didn't go hard enough.
yeah, no, this is, okay, this is can turn into a long conversation. We have to look at what is soreness as,
Get your
like,
window.
what is it? It's okay if you need to like talk to him or something.
No, he's bounced. You good?
Okay. Well, yeah, we need to look at what is soreness. And there are two main things that cause soreness. They are not the same as, but they cause soreness. And the first is micro damage. The second is edema, or in other words, fluid buildup that exerts pressure on nerve afferents, which creates the feeling of soreness or pain. And it's interesting because there's Brad Schoenfeld's, and I love this, Brad Schoenfeld's 3 mechanisms of hypertrophy, or 3 mechanisms of growth. The first And I'm sorry, I'm going to get into a whole bunch of jargon.
Nah, go for it. I want to learn this myself.
Well, there's three. There's mechanical tension and tension stimuli, metabolic stress, and stuff like lactate, other things. The third is damage. And this is where we get into soreness. But there's a lot of people, a lot of literature talking about how damage is not necessary for growth. A lot of studies showing that damage is not necessary. But there's a lot of other evidence showing that it's additive. And while it's not necessary, it can lead to an additive response. So my personal take, this is Hailey's opinion, okay? This is not literature fact, is that it might be a good idea to try to attain a little bit in the way of soreness, thinking that, well, I probably attained a little bit of micro damage and or fluid buildup, edema.
So soreness is damage?
Additive response. Pardon me?
So soreness is damage, basically?
Well, it doesn't have to be damage. Remember, it can be fluid buildup. Like, for example, okay, I don't want to get really technical.
No, that makes sense why massages help release all that, right?
Yeah, well, no, because that's another thing on my list, that there's really nothing you can do to alleviate soreness,
Okay.
especially if it's micro damage. There's nothing that you're going to do to get rid of that. The fluid buildup, maybe a little bit, but there's nothing that I'm aware of showing that massage or any kind of
stretching help? Anything? Nothing helps?
Well, an NSAID, popping a Tylenol, but here's the fun thing. We talked about this in the first episode. NSAIDs have been shown to blunt your anabolic stimuli.
Yeah.
So what? You're going to go lift and then pop 2 Tylenol? Look, okay, there might be a dosage by which it's like, hey, if you only take 1, then it might not do anything. You have to take like a bunch over a long period of time, but we don't know. So I'm certainly not going to have a hard workout and then pop a Tylenol. Like, maybe it's not blunting anything, but what if it is? What if it's blunting like everything you just worked for, like the freaking 2 hours you busted your ass and you popped a Tylenol and now like throw all those gains down the toilet? I'm not about to play with it and, take a chance. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing you can do apart from setting up your workout in a way like to allow yourself not to be sore. Like, I think you should chase a little bit of soreness, but don't go overboard with it. Don't do a ton of volume. Don't do like crazy focused eccentrics on your super high intensity of load sets, like your heaviest sets. But then if you're somebody who doesn't experience any soreness, I would probably suggest that on your heaviest sets, you focus on the negatives a little longer. Count to 2 to 3 seconds on your lowering phase. Guarantee you're going to be sore.
Next question is, you should give 100% effort during every workout.
Okay, so for most people, yes, because I think most people don't push hard. I see them just joking around while they work out, just kind of,
taking selfies in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for most people, they should definitely try to push harder. But there's a few people who have a hard time scaling it back.
Always pushing for more, basically.
Yeah, but understand that also this whole there's a certain term for it. It's really simple and I can't remember it. Progressive overload. Always aim to, attain something in the way of progressive overload, be it, okay, now there's a lot to say, but increasing the weight, focusing on quality reps, like not just going through the motions, like really control it, really feel it, close your eyes even if you have to feel, like focus on the contraction.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that.
Like closing your eyes?
Well, no, I just mean like the whole actually constricting and feeling it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people just freaking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's not a race to finish. The whole point you're there is to do work for a certain purpose. And it's not like all work is the same. Like you just, do 10 and that's the same as like really controlling. No, like you want quality reps. That's the whole point here. So yeah, definitely, especially if you're a beginner, you might have a hard time because some of these muscles, like the glutes, for example, a lot of people don't use them in daily living, like just getting up, walking around. You don't use your glutes. So for the first time ever, you might be like calling on these muscles to work, but you just can't get them to fire. So it might take some time. You have to like really try to focus. Like, and this was a big thing for me, especially. People would think something was wrong with me at the gym. Like, I can't even tell you how many times people would come up to me at the gym and be like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, you seem mad. Like, is everything okay? Like, are you upset?" Like, no, I'm not. I have to close my eyes and like fucking focus on what I'm doing. Like, I have to focus on the muscle, like, really
Yeah,
fire.
because
So,
I remember like my early workouts of just starting, like you just want to get through it, get through the reps, you know what I mean? Like a certain number, as opposed to like actually, I don't want to say enjoying it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
yeah, I understand. And I mean, yeah, okay. There's a lot of things you have to focus on as a beginner. So you kind of have to cut them some slack. I mean, they're learning a whole different movement pattern they've probably never done before. I mean, everything's foreign to them. It doesn't feel natural. Like between counting the reps, doing it right, the lift being new, I mean, so many things there. It's going to be hard for them to probably focus on a quality rep, but these are just things that you just get to as you have more experience.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you make a list, maybe even that's something that I would do a lot and try to go over it in my mind, like during my workout, like things I need to focus on. And this is why I also suggest that people don't have a workout partner. Now, I know there's some caveats to this. Well, Hailey, I need a squatter. Well, Hailey, I'm one of those people who just, I benefit from the buddy system and I'm really pushed with the buddy. And I would actually say that the
That's
vast
like a motivation thing, right?
yes, but at the same time, I think people have to be honest with themselves. Like, hey, am I really like, is this buddy really pushing me? Or are we like, okay, I'm not trying to turn your workout into some like suffering session or whatever, but you need to be honest with yourself. Like, are you joking with them? Is this killing your motivated mood? Like you're taking your headphones out, joking with them and not really focusing on your sets. Be honest with yourself. Am I getting a better workout with this person? Are they really pushing me? Are we both really there being serious together? So yeah, I'm totally
Have you
lost my train of
have
thought.
you personally ever worked out with anybody like that, or just like another influencer or anything?
Oh, pardon?
Have you ever worked out like with somebody that pushes you like that, or even just another influencer in the same kind of
No,
lane?
never.
Never? Okay.
Whenever I've worked out with somebody, it has always turned into a joking, killing the mood session for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Always.
competitive. I can imagine.
Yeah. I get a much better workout on my own.
Next question. Strength training means using machines and heavy weights.
Well, I mean, as most people would define it, strength training means using weights, whether it be free weights or machine-based weights. And, I had on my list here,
Yeah, what do you think about resistance bands as well? Wondering.
okay, bands are better than nothing. But and I will say that some people feel bands like crazy. I am not one of those people, but I'm not going to say that everybody should write them off just because I can't feel them. However, I think that objectively speaking, bands are two ways. They are they have a decent resistance until they become too heavy, or it's like they're just way too light. I mean, it's like way too light and it's good, or it's like good and it's way too heavy. Like you can't have that full range challenge basically with, and I hate even the term like a constant resistance, because things like moment arm, things like, oh man, just the way the machine set up, if you're using machine or like bands in this instance, it's going to be hard to keep that constant, like, because I mean, if you're using 20 pounds or 30 pounds, you're thinking, well, I want to have this 20-pound challenge, or at least around that 20-pound challenge throughout the duration of this rep. And so bands make it really hard, because again, it's either like super, like you have a great challenge and then it's too hard here because as you stretch it out, it gets harder, or it's like way too light and you have a great challenge at the end. And so it's just, I would much rather, like for example, abduction.
Basically, it's hard to find the middle ground.
With bands, right? With bands. This is why I really like certain machines. I think it's fantastic.
Any favorites you want to throw out there?
Well, for what goal?
Oh my God. Well, I guess we're talking
It's
about
true.
like, we're talking about strength training, so.
Well, yeah, for what goal?
Uh,
What muscle am I focusing on? Okay. I know what you're asking me. It's just I don't want to give all-encompassing answers
Yeah,
because,
I'm just like someone bulking up the common. We're talking about that, you know.
well, I will say that I think a lot of people underestimate machines because they have this thing that they've heard all their lifting life that, oh,
I've heard that too.
they're better.
Same.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is that you can never truly isolate a muscle. So understand that when we call something an isolation lift, that's a crock of bullshit. Um, the the way I like to describe using a machine or the purpose of using a machine is that this is you're working a force producer. You're working a force producer. And so people are like, oh, well, doing a squat, that's going to be better for what? I mean, what's the goal? What are we trying to do? Burn calories? I mean, I could have you run on the treadmill and burn more calories. I mean, oh, it's you're working every muscle in your body, total body. I mean, well, yeah, that's great. For what goal? What's the goal? I mean, you're other than the quads, which are the prime movers, like really the prime mover in a squat, you're not going to bulk up all these other muscles in your body just by doing a squat and by just because you activate a muscle doesn't mean you're going to grow it. So I mean, it's like, what's the goal? What are we doing here? People, oh, squat's the best exercise, full body, you're activating all these muscles. Well, great. What's the goal? Like, what are we trying to do? So it's interesting to me when people write off machines because they see it as this like pussy lift or whatever because it's an isolation lift, when especially something that provides you such stability. Because think about this. If you're standing in a squat rack, and I'm just picking squats because it's one of the most unstable lifts, if I can say this, you've got a bar on your back, and you're, for example, say you're trying to hit 8-10 reps. Sorry, I get a little excited, okay? I'm sorry. Say you're going for 8-10 reps, and you've got your 8-10 rep max on your back. I don't know, you've got 200 pounds on your back. You're trying to execute this set with a continual tension, meaning that as soon as you come up, you descend back down and you're going until completion, until you fail. You're telling me that it's not going to cross your mind at any point. You're like, oh shit, what if I get stuck? What if I fail? I mean, what if you're going to get tired. Things are going to get wobbly. There's so much risk for injury, for you falling because there's not that stability there. You cannot.
Sounds more controlled.
Pardon me?
It sounds like you have more control, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have more stability, you have more control. And so this is the problem with a lot of, look, free weights are great. I'm not saying they're not, but I think a lot of people miss the fact that when you have stability, especially in machines, you can really push things to failure. You can use a lot of weight to failure, and you don't have to worry, because when you fail on a machine, well, maybe on some machines it might not count because like on a leg press, for example, you can't push it back up, but you're just kind of stuck there. But I mean, there's really no risk other than you straining to push it up, and maybe like your lower back is like, rounding forward and you fuck up your back like that. But like leg extension, what happens? You fail, you go right back down. Abduction, what happens? You fail, you just go right back in. Hip thrusting machine, you fail, you just go right back down. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of risk, but it's not to the extent of like you with a loaded barbell on your back trying to push it, the set to failure, true failure. I mean, so many times people's sets, squats, deadlifts, the set is stopped short well before the prime movers are truly fatigued because they're fucking scared, and they should be. Like, I would be scared too. So I totally get it. I'm sorry, like talking your ear off today.
No, that's cool. What about this one? That fat can turn into muscle and muscle
Bullshit.
can turn into fat.
Bullshit.
Why though? Is this just
because for the same reason that your lip doesn't magically fucking turn into another, tissue type. There's some unfortunate people out there who have some, I don't know the name of it. Like, I was just reading about this the other day, that their muscle turns into bone. That's a very rare case, and that is very unfortunate. But for the 99.99% high, you don't just have tissue turning into another tissue. Now what you mean is that muscle turning into fat because you're not using it. Well, yeah, your muscle's going to atrophy, which means it gets smaller. You experience muscle loss, and you're probably going to gain fat because if you're, sorry.
No, that leads me to my next question is you start losing muscle mass after just a week of inactivity. I've heard that one a lot.
Debatable. This is debatable. This is really debatable. And I'm really not sure. I don't think it's a week. I would actually say based on what I remember, that it's actually about 3 weeks.
What about
But we'll
go ahead.
probably think you're losing muscle mass, especially because muscle holds a lot of water because of the glycogen. So if you're glycogen depleted, you're going to lose the water weight, especially for every gram of glycogen, you hold 3 grams of water. So yeah, if you haven't like been able to lift, or maybe you're not eating enough, you're going to look flatter probably. And then you're going to think, oh my gosh, I'm losing all my gains. But yeah, you'll probably get it back really quickly.
Early mornings is the best time to work out.
No, that's a myth. Any time that is best for you is the best time to work out.
Damn, that was straight to the point. Doing crunches and sit-ups will get you 6 packs, but I think we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Workouts should be at least an hour.
Why? For what?
I don't know. I think people
What's
have.
the goal?
I get you. If you're just trying to get tired.
Curious. Whenever you have a question, ask, what is my goal? What am I trying to achieve?
Yeah.
1 second. What? He's crazy.
What about working out every day?
For what goal?
I'm just saying, like, is it important to work out every single day?
Well, it's important, I think, to move every day. I mean, you don't know. I mean, okay, what's the goal? Are you just trying to be healthy? Are you trying to lose fat? I mean, I could have somebody lose fat just by manipulating what they put in their mouth, and they can sit in a chair all day long. Is
What
that
about,
true? Probably
here's
not.
another one. Lean muscle is different from bulk.
Okay, lean muscle is redundant because muscle is muscle is muscle.
It's the
You
same.
don't have fat muscle, and you can have glycogen depleted muscle, which in an aesthetic kind of term, I guess you could consider like a flatter muscle, but no.
Here's a really good one. To get large, you must lift large.
Large, I'm assuming like to gain muscle.
Yeah, to get really.
Okay, yeah, this is
Good one.
another interesting facet of the workout world. There have been a lot of studies lately that show that you can gain at least as much muscle as group A versus group B. Group A using 70 to 80 to 90% 1 rep max. In other words, heavy fucking weight. Versus group 2 that uses 30 to 50% of their 1 rep max, so like not as much weight, but they can only do that if they go to failure. But when we get down into the nitty gritty, for example, it's my personal opinion that people who only use like 40% of their 1 rep max to failure, sure, they can probably experience a lot of growth. But here's the thing, the 3 mechanisms of hypertrophy, Brad Schoenfeld, we were talking about earlier, a lot of these things are shown to be additive. It's like a cumulative response. You want to gain as much in the way of these 3 things as you can every workout to have the biggest cumulative response. So there have been shown a lot of growth pathways stimulated by mechanical tension being leading to growth signaling in, like, for example, mechanosensors in the cellular membrane, legit picking up that stimuli from the heavier weight, like 70, 80% of the 1 rep max. There are different kind of mechanosensors too. Mechanosensors that favor heavier weight, mechanosensors that favor lighter weight in different fiber types. So it's debatable. It's like, well, are the people who are not using the heavy weight missing out on these signaling cascades? I mean, because hey, these groups might be gaining a lot. This group maybe it gained a little more, like the heavier group in this group, because they didn't use as heavy. Like they gained a lot, but not as much, So I'm constantly asking myself, like, how can I attain as big of a response as I can? Like, I want to make sure I'm getting everything I can in one single workout to like bring one big cumulative response. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I know I'm sorry, I'm like talking your ear off, but yeah, you can definitely, especially like older people who are injured, who can't use that heavy weight for whatever reason. Yeah, you definitely can gain an appreciable amount of muscle by using like 30 to 50% of your 1 rep max, considering you take it to failure or very close to failure.
When you say failure, can you elaborate on that?
Meaning you cannot do another full rep.
Meaning
you legit like, and you literally can't. In that moment, you fail.
Yeah. Okay, here's another good one. Bigger muscles translate to greater strength.
Oh, this is so interesting. There's so much literature on this. Okay, so the jargon I cannot remember, but I remember I think it was either Brad Schoenfeld, Brett Contreras, or Jane. It was somebody, Krieger, Knuckles. Someone has a great article on this talking about the muscle thickness and how it actually like translates into a better moment arm, and it can definitely lead to more strength, but it's not it's not like ounce per ounce. You get bigger, you automatically gain more strength. Actually, what's commonly seen in beginners especially is that you gain a ton of strength and you just grow a teeny little bit. And this is because of the whole neuromuscular thing. You have like so much going on in the way of like the brain recruiting the muscle to use it for the first time, and you gain so much strength that way, and you don't gain you gain so much strength and just like a little bit of growth, and yeah, it can be really frustrating. But yeah, for the most part, you probably will gain more strength than you will size.
I don't know to be motivated or discouraged by that. You don't even
Yeah, I know.
realize,
It's definitely
you
it
know,
sucks. It's frustrating. I totally get
you're
it.
like I'm stronger, but I look the same, basically, right?
Right. Totally. I mean, this is why you have the skinnier dude in the gym being able to really like okay, you've got the skinnier dude in the gym and like super buff guy, and the skinny dude is just blowing the buff guy out of the water. And I mean, yeah, this whole like strength and size thing, it's hard. I mean, this is where you're getting into powerlifting versus bodybuilding, and it's like
Ah,
even when both groups are on gear, different gear probably most likely, but still both groups are roiding. You often see that powerlifters are on average smaller. I mean, they're impressive still, but smaller on average than bodybuilders. But bodybuilders are not as strong as powerlifters. So
seems
it's
like you're
definitely
more
interesting.
focused on the look of the physique as opposed to the strength in that situation, right?
Right, right.
Um, Sweating a ton means you worked your ass off.
That's bullshit. That's one I have on my list here. Sweating more. Okay, so there was an interesting one particular I remember. I don't remember the name of it, but they compared hot yoga to regular yoga, where one room they had it crazy hot and the other was just regular. And so they had tracked the amount of calories that both groups had burned. And while the hot yoga group, they were sweating, like dripping sweat, and they had them like do checklists of, you know, your perceived amount of like effort, how hard did you work? And the sweating group, they were like, oh my gosh, we worked so hard, we must have burned so many calories. And the regular room, they were just like, well, I mean, yeah, we had a workout, but I mean, it wasn't anything like crazy. And it was interesting because it found that the groups really had no significant difference at all. Now, this is really interesting. I'm somebody, as you know, I come from South Texas. It's fucking hot there. I will actually, when I got to the gym there, I would not warm up. I would take a cool down period because I would get to the gym sweating balls, and I would not start until I was cool. And if I got there and the gym was freaking hot, I have no shame. I will go up and be like, hey, you know, can you please turn the AC on? It's freaking hot in here. And I will do it at the gym here. I have no shame.
Hey, what gym did you go to? Off topic for a second.
Yeah, so I went to my very first gym was Lean Gym in Harlingen. That was the best gym. Super cheap. It had everything I needed. I loved it. My second gym was Crunch in Edinburgh, which was, again, a great gym, cheap, had everything I needed. And then I went to Gold's Gym in Weslaco, which was okay.
I asked because my mom used to own a women's only gym. Do you have any opinion on women's only gyms or anything?
Yeah, no, I think they're great. I mean, I totally get it. Okay. I'm somebody who I actually really enjoy working out with guys.
Do you know Curves was invented in Harlingen?
What was?
Curves, like the women's only gym.
Oh,
That's one of them.
not okay.
Super cool.
Fun,
Yeah, fun fact. I think it was like when we were born too. But I say that because a lot of women complain there aren't any like female gyms, only women gyms, and I'm like, dude, they've been around forever, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know that, but I will say that most women gyms that I've been to, at least the one I've been to, was in Lean, and Lean was great. But I never went to the women's section unless I needed to see if there was a squat pad in there, and then I immediately left.
It's also interesting because imagine the kind of harassment you got to go through, maybe, or You know, maybe you're just insecure. I was trying to imagine the purpose of just.
Yeah, totally. I'm totally down with it. A lot of women, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
All right, let's go to the next question. This one's kind of dumb. You have to do at least 20 minutes of cardio to make it worth your while. I think we know the answer to that.
No.
Okay. You need to stretch before a workout. I
Yeah,
thought
I
that
have
was
this
true.
down.
No?
Okay,
I
well
feel
then,
like it's important for me. I don't know. Maybe for my joints. I got bad joints. I don't know.
okay, well, we need to not confuse stretching with warming up. You should definitely warm up being, pick something, do jumping jacks, like
I
do,
mean,
but
talking about basketball, for example.
yeah, okay. Well, that's a little different because with basketball, you're just gonna be kind of running around. You're not doing anything like specific movement type things. Maybe with basketball, what I would suggest for that, like warming up, is to do some dynamic stretching movements. Okay, because that's the difference here. It's dynamic stretching versus static stretching. So static stretching is what? Where you hold it, right? For 30 seconds. You hold it, you hold it, you hold it. And dynamic, anything can be considered a dynamic stretch because it's literally the movement. So that's what I would suggest is definitely implement a dynamic movement, like for basketball. Like if you're going to be like, I don't fucking know anything about basketball. Okay, but like, just like maybe like, do some dynamic stuff like
yeah,
that.
you know the movements. That's the gist of it, though. You got it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you definitely do not need to static stretch, and you might not want to because there's a lot of, we don't know yet, but there is decent amount of evidence showing that static stretching can lead to a decrease in performance.
I was thinking maybe just more prone to injury, but that's the same thing almost.
Well, yeah, that too. That too. I mean, if you're experiencing a decrease in performance, well, yeah, I mean, your risk of injury goes up. So definitely you want to do things that are going to keep you from having that decrease in performance. So yeah, you probably should wait to static stretch. And what would the best time to static stretch be? It would be after you work out because you're warmed up. Because when you static stretch, you don't want to do it cold. You want to do it when you're warmed up, when your core temperature is higher. And so when's the best time? After you lift. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You're making sure, one, that you don't compromise your workout by having any sort of a decrease in performance, and two, you're already warmed up, so save it for after you lift. So but definitely there should be a warm-up implemented, but that doesn't mean kill yourself either. This is something that people like beginners need to learn to like find the balance between, is like, what is a good warm-up without killing myself? Because you want to increase your core temperature, but don't kill yourself to where you're compromising your workout.
It's interesting because sports all vary in the sense of you can be different weights for different things and your exercises are way different. And one of the comments was like, what about baseball? And I always thought it was interesting because there's some pitchers that are huge. You know what I mean? And it's just about your arm. You're throwing all day. Like, so you're not as incentivized for certain sports to really be in shape. It's kind of interesting. It's more about the repetition and staying on your feet.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, that's a fucked up one. Yoga isn't a real workout.
Well, what's the goal?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, some people go to the gym just to have fun, and I respect that. I mean, hey, if that, like, I totally get it. If that's what makes you happy and like you just want to go and move and be active, I totally support that. And if
Hey, I have a really good question. This is a good one. Sports drinks are good for you.
Okay, what sports drink and in what context?
I mean, Gatorade.
I wouldn't touch with the
Gatorade. It's the most, everybody knows it.
I
Powerade, whatever.
to that.
What about Bang Energy? Things like that.
Bang and suck a giant. Yeah, I've got a great, lengthy, in-depth Bang video on my YouTube channel. It's one of the only videos I haven't taken down.
Damn,
so
that's worth watching.
Yeah, I really went into some detail on Bang. Bang has a special place in my heart.
So much of the ingredients, I'm guessing?
Okay, because John Owak, otherwise known as Jack Owak, his Bang name on Instagram.
He looks crazy, by the way. He looks like the drink.
Yeah, he called himself the father of modern creatine. Fucking arrogant.
Wow.
Arrogant. I cannot even. And father of lukewarm water. There you go. Interesting, because he had for his super creatine product, his patent was stripped from him because he actually wasn't the inventor of his super creatine. It's all in my video. You want to see it? I fucking break all this down. This is
Very
bullshit,
interesting.
fucking bullshit. And what pisses me off the most, I think, or maybe not the most, but something is just like, and I actually had a Bang person in my inbox offering me money, $7 grand a month to make a few videos a week for them. Bullshit, man. And this is what they do. They get a sexy girl in their bikini, like, oh, here's my Bang product. It's so Bang, so wonderful. Take my product. And that's what they do, and that's how it fucking sells. So just,
I mean, those are the only girls that I know that drink it. The people who are convinced that they are that. You know what I mean?
Pardon?
Those are the people that I know that consume it. People like obsessed with working
Sure.
out.
Well, they don't.
It's become more of a status and image thing. Am I right?
Well, they can keep their status. I don't give a fuck, man. I think it's bullshit.
So, on to Gatorade or Powerade, whatever. Thoughts on that? Electrolytes? Any thoughts?
I would rather you just, if you're thirsty, drink some water and then eat like an organic apple or something.
Word.
Legit.
Maximum results, you have to gain protein immediately.
What?
For maximum results.
For maximum results.
You have to gain protein immediately.
Gain protein, eat protein.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, so we're talking about the anabolic window, and this is interesting. This is a thought a lot of people have, that if you don't eat a protein shake or protein whatever, and within an hour or within so much time after your workout, then you lose all the muscle building abilities. You just wasted that workout. So there's a phrase by Brad Schoenfeld that I love. I think he posted this to his Twitter sometime back. It's like, he said, it's not an anabolic window of opportunity. It's more like an anabolic barn door. Like, it's a lot bigger than you thought. And it's really dependent on when you had your pre-workout or your before workout meal, like your pre-workout meal, like, because you're going to be digesting what you ate. Like, so let's say you ate 2 hours before your workout, you're still digesting this. So you're still like, the meal you ate before, like, now if you ate yesterday, then yeah, you probably should eat something like quick. But if you ate a few hours before, then, I mean, you don't have to quick race, and if I don't drink something now, I'm going to lose all the, like, no. So,
that's good to
anabolic barn door.
Interesting. This is obviously an obvious one. If you gain weight, that means you're getting fat.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my body fat, maybe it is now, but like 3 years ago, after I had gained like 15 pounds, like since starting to lift, yeah, absolutely not much gained in the way of fat mass. N equals 1 doesn't mean anything, but absolutely not. This is why people should throw their scales away or use it as a last resort.
I only have like 1 or 2 more questions, but you're going to love this one. People who exercise need less sleep.
Okay.
You're like, I need my sleep.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I can only give my experience. I've never looked at this in depth. However, I saw this really interesting study, and I've looked for this and looked for this. I cannot find it again, but they talked about how they took a group of athletes and they were getting like 5 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And then they took them and put them on like 10 to 14 hours a night. And they said the results, I remember this line, the results were as if the athletes started doping. Like, their performance shot up through the roof. I can't find the study. I'm sure it's out there. I cannot find it. I've been like, I looked for this and looked for this. I can't find it. But with what I experienced, because I only lift once a week, I have like one crazy balls to the wall day. The day that I lift, like that night and the next 3 days, I'm just gone, man. I can get 12 hours a night easily. And then like if I lift Monday, like as the week goes on, I feel like I need less and less sleep, but that's just my experience. So
that's pretty good. You have to join a gym or hire a trainer to achieve physical fitness. That's like my last one. I think that's obvious.
But what define physical fitness?
I think people just, it's kind of like, I'd rather be taught and shown the right way, but I think a lot of shit
And the right way. Let me tell you what, most gym trainers are full of shit. they have a weekend course, and just because they're buff and lean, I'm genetically lean by nature. If I would have never lifted, I could still have gotten a job in a gym, looked fucking lean and shredded, and oh, she knows what she's doing. And I'd have a weekend course, like in some certification, wouldn't know what the fuck I'm talking. Like, okay, just example, okay? This is what happens in every gym every day. People walking in, they fucking look the part, they look great. And I've got stories on this too, like shit stories. It's terrible.
That's somebody's livelihood you're talking about, Hailey.
Livelihood. I mean,
nice.
This is setting people up for, I mean, it's not just wasting your time and money. It's setting people up for injuries. I mean, that's dangerous. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you're trying to instruct somebody, especially
nice.
Like start getting involved. Yeah, this is why gyms have these signed liability waivers, and for good reason too.
Shit.
Just people, really be careful who you're trusting. 99% of trainers just
will not spot you. They will not spot you. It's all on you.
It doesn't have anything to do with spotting. I can get anyone in the gym to spot me. It doesn't mean they know what to spot.
Trying to give an excuse for their liability. And
yeah. Okay. Well, wait. What was the initial question though?
Oh, just that you have to join a gym or hire a trainer to achieve physical fitness.
Yeah, okay. So this whole physical fitness thing depends on your definition.
What are you trying to do? What's your goal?
Yeah, true. If you just want to lose fat, you can just do that at home yourself by shutting your trap and eating less food. However, if you have particular muscle building goals, you might need certain things that only a gym might have. So, but as far as needing personal trainer expertise, yeah.
We're in the last few minutes, but one of the questions I wanted to know was, do you have anything at home that you use for like stationary being at home workouts or anything?
No.
You don't? So you always believe, make it a point to go?
Well, stationary stuff for cardio, no, I don't do any cardio because I'm a hard gainer, so I don't want to expend more energy. But no, yeah, we have weights
at home. Okay, word.
Yeah, so you have to live at home. My gym's been closed for 3 months. It's not going to open until freaking March.
Man, come back to America. Get that stimulus.
Yeah.
All right, I tried. Y'all could have both got one. Anyways, 2 minutes left. We can wrap it up however you want, whatever you want to say.
I feel like an asshole.
No, I mean, there really isn't. They're just comments and statements. We got 2 minutes, though.
Okay. Yeah, as far as these lives, I've said it before, but I guess I'm not expecting that many questions of quality. Is that
I mean, I personally got a lot of information out of this, so I'm learning in the process. That's what it's all about. Hopefully somebody else can take from this.
Well, I have some stuff here. Actually,
we got 1 minute. You better do it quick.
Well, all I'm saying is, I guess if you have any more, then we can pick them up next time.
Oh,
because you've just about gone through all that I had on my list, except for like 30-second rest being best for growth. Like you think that you have to just take 30 seconds. Like the shorter you rest, the more you're going to grow. And this is really an interesting, like, okay, to try to give you a short answer. It's seen that volume is the primary driver of growth, but not all volume is the same. And you want a quality set more than anything. And so how are you going to get a quality set? 3-minute rest. And in my opinion, 3 to 5 minute rest. A beginner, probably on the lower end, probably more 3 minutes.
So how long do you spend? How long do you spend working out with all your breaks in between and whatnot?
About 3 hours.
Shit. Okay.
3 to 4 hours.
All right. You should have put that as fact. You should have put that as fact. You need 3 hours for a good.
No. Just my personal, yeah.
What's your goal? 25 seconds, Hailey. Any last words?
Yeah, well, I guess that's it. Any questions? I guess we'll have to save them for next time. So thank you all for coming in.
Or just inbox you. I'm sure you'll be kind enough to get to everybody eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Cool. All right, Hailey. Appreciate your time. See you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.